Hi, my name is Melissa Vidal, and I am doing my presentation on Law and Order, Ancient Civilization. So, to begin with, why does law even matter? Good question. Laws can be boring and it can keep people from doing crazy things, but it also protects them. Laws may restrict people, but also tames the community. Where is the fun in that though? Well, laws created to make sure that the rules are formed and no one can run rapid. In order to keep everyone safe, rules are set to make boundaries known. Without the rules and laws, it would allow anyone to do anything they find acceptable without any consequences. There would be chaos and destruction in the street, and it wouldn't matter because there's no rule against it. Leaders later realized this and came up with a system to protect the community from doing such a thing. Then came Hammurabi, who would later conquer and control Babylon. He realized that there needed to be a sense of control in the community and created the Code of Hammurabi. There lies the first form of law, finally introduced to the world. Yes, it's necessary. The first form of law, Code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi was the first leader to create a set of law for his people to follow. He was known for making his fair, very harsh rules, but it was because he wanted people to obey the law and respect it. He didn't want to settle for anything but a perfect village. This is why the rules were so harsh. It created more reason for people to stay in line. You gotta scare them. They were more motivated to follow the laws that were created, though that doesn't mean the laws that were created were very just. People would stand trial when necessary and defend their actions, but also their sentencing if they in any way violated the law, which is very easy to do in that era. So, what were the laws, you might ask? Good question. The laws limited the activities that men carried out and also restricted the women's affairs. It was very cut and dry and didn't allow literally basically anyone with anything during this time period. And if one chose to break one of the laws stated, they were more than likely to be either sentenced to a banishment or death. Now, here are a few examples of the laws set for this civilization. Law 1. If a man accused another of laying a death spell, we believe, upon him, but has not proved it, he shall be put to death. Law 129. If a man's wife be caught lying with another, they shall be strangled and cast into the water. The wife's husband would save his wife, the king can save his servant. That sounds pretty fair. Law 143. If she has not been discreet, has gone out, ruined her house, belittled her husband, she shall be drowned. Again, how fair. God's law. Even God himself, okay? He knew that law had to exist in order for there to be a sense of control in the community. Oh, even God himself held people accountable for their actions and punished when it was necessary because it could be necessary sometimes. Now, in the beginning, though, he may not have made sense in his punishments and could be seen as a little bit rude sometimes to some people, okay? But he was in the process of trying to figure out what the legal system should be in that. And it was important to have a guide to follow, but he just didn't understand what that would look like yet, or didn't know at all. He went through trial and error in order to find the system of what he wanted things to look like. And that takes time, and it takes mistakes to be made and to be frustrated and kind of outlash on other people. You never know. You can have a bad day. Roman law. Roman law is the legal system of ancient Rome. This included the legal development that would take spanning over 1,000 of years. They had created the 12 tables, another set of laws created for the people of their city to follow. These were the beginnings of a new approach to law where everyone would ideally be treated as equals. Now, this is a goal that has been made for centuries at this point, and we're still trying to achieve this. And now this was also the foundation that the European legal order would later be built on. They had 3 large rules they would abide by all costs. Now, these might sound a little familiar. The first being the accused would be presumed as innocent until proven otherwise. Sounds familiar. The second would be the accused would be able to face the accuser and offer a defense against the charges made, which sounds pretty fair. Then finally, guilt had to be established by using hard evidence, a rule that we still use by this day. Now, they had truly made a large leap from what was being used in Code of Hammurabi instead of drowning people, necessarily. Now, the Code of Justinian. The Code of Justinian, also known as the body of civil law, provided a standard where everyone should meet. This code foundation of, I don't know why I can't pronounce this word, Byzantine legal system for about 900 years, with the purpose to bring law and order back to their community. The influence of the Code of Justinian spread to most of Europe, taking control and bringing a set of standards to every community. Now, there are 4 sections to this code, and each played a fundamental part in creating a structured village. And there on my right, you can see Justinian himself. So, that was kind of. Now, the sections of Justinian. Now, since we were just talking about it, the Code of Justinian, it's only making sense to talk about the sections that we just. Anyways, now speaking of the Code of Justinian, it held 4 different sections. First was the Codex. It was the first completed part of the sequence, and it read that everyone had to follow the Christian faith. This led to other portions of the Codex to forbid the practice of pagan and sacrifices. Then followed Digesta. This section was created from 530 through 533 by commissioning 16 lawyers. Okay, the next followed was the Institutionis after the Digesta. It was compiled in 533 for first-year law students, interestingly enough. Then the last part is the Novellae Constitutionis Post Condensum. This section was created between 534 and 565 to revise the Codex. Now, altogether, this created a nationwide recognition of what the rules were expected to be in Europe. Its impression lasted a great deal amount of time, 900 years, and was taken very seriously. Oh, it's a little spinny. Okay, different versions of law. All of these different versions of law were created by leaders of the culture at that time period. These laws fit the community it was acting on and held a control upon them. They had a standard that they wanted to uphold and would make sure that the people saw their consequences for their actions if necessary. We have seen the Code of Hammurabi apply his laws to his people and would sentence them to death if it was seen necessary in his eyes. Even God himself had a set of guides he expected from his people. He definitely struggled and was sometimes considered rude about it, but he had to do what he had to do. Code of Justinian was expected everyone across Europe to abide by their laws as well, even to the point where they had to follow a specific religion or else they would be punished. Roman law wanted equality from all of their people while still applying the rules to abide by them for each and every one of them. I mean, they're all equal. All of these different types of law allowed for later versions to learn from. This allowed for the modern day society to develop the rules we have in place today. We have to learn from the past in order to create the future. Overall, the rules do matter. They might suck at sometimes, but they matter. Because the Hammurabi took the first step and created guidelines and expectations for his community, it created a sense of, community. People had rules to follow, respect to give, and had to abide by these. If not, there was punishments they could face instead. it was important to have this sense of justice, because without it, everything and everyone would run loose. And that would create an immense amount of chaos in the streets, in the homes, everywhere you look. Okay, are needed to um, these rules are needed because it makes people take a sense of responsibility for their actions and challenge them to basically almost do better. Okay. The Code of Hammurabi may have been harsh, but it managed to maintain the message that this village falls under one leader, and they were challenged to do better and abide by the rules that they were breaking beforehand, or would be punished if they tried breaking again. Now, um, as well with the Code of Justinian, it was taken so seriously to the point where it was followed and cared for across the nation. People respected these acts because if harm was done to them, someone would be held responsible for it. Someone has to pay for any rule that's broke. Because of those first sets of laws, it followed us to this modern day, and we still uphold it to give us the justice system that is very well necessary today. Without it, we'd, again, be in complete chaos. So, thank you.